My name is David Lorenz, and I am the SNAP Director for Central Maryland, Chair for the Bowie chapter of Voice of the Faithful, and a victim of clergy sexual abuse. We stand here to show our support and solidarity for the brave victims of Ireland who came forward and exposed the cancer of child sexual abuse that was part of the fabric of their country. We also pay tribute to the government of Ireland, which, despite years of identification with the Catholic hierarchy, understood that their fundamental duty was not to the Catholic institution, but to their own children. They did what no other government has been capable of doing to this point. They performed an investigation into the systemic cover-up of child abuse that tore at the heart of their identity and their country. They did this to protect their children, even if it meant embarrassment and scandal. I'd like to give a short summary, a glimmer really, of what the government of Ireland has done to expose this curse on their country so that they can begin to eradicate it and initiate the healing process. In May of 2000, prior to the revelations coming out of Boston, the government gives investigatory powers to the Commission to inquire into child abuse, to measure the cause and extent of unchecked child abuse in institutions as far back as 1937. In April 2002, the Ferns Bishop Brendan Comiskey resigns because of failures to stop abuse. He admits he did too little to stop pedophile priests. In October of 2005, an investigation led by retired Supreme Court Justice finds that church, police, and state authorities did too little to stop sexual abuse of hundreds of children by 21 priests in the Diocese of Ferns. The report says Ferns bishops sheltered and promoted priests known to have raped altar boys and molested schoolgirls on the altar. In May of 2009, the Commission to Inquire into Child Abuse is published, a 2,500-page report known as the Ryan Report, into thousands of child abuse cases in institutions in the Diocese of Dublin. In November of 2009, a follow-up report was issued called the Ryan Report. It investigated the way in which the Church dealt with allegations of sexual abuse of children by priests over the period of 1975 to 2004. This report concluded that the Dublin Archdiocese preoccupation in dealing with cases of child sexual abuse, at least until the mid-1990s, were the maintenance of secrecy, the avoidance of scandal, the protection of the reputation of the Church, and the preservation of its assets. All other considerations, including the welfare of children and justice for victims, were subordinated to these priorities. The Archdiocese did not implement its own canon laws and did its best to avoid any application of the law of the state." Unquote. In 2009 and 2010, 4 Irish bishops implicated in the Murphy Report tendered their resignation. A 5th bishop stridently refuses to resign and claims he did nothing wrong. He is Bishop Martin Drennan and is currently Bishop of Galway. The Irish government has commissioned these reports in order to protect its current and future generations of children, despite the difficulty in dealing with the ugly issue of child abuse and concurrent embarrassment. They did what was right. We ask the governments of Austria, Germany, the Netherlands, Australia, the US, etc., to follow their lead. Go ahead.
My name is Becky Ianni. I am the SNAP Director for Virginia and Washington, D.C. I am also a victim of clergy sexual abuse. We want to publicly express our sorrow for the pain of these courageous victims of Ireland and praise them for their bravery. We are convinced that there are 1,000 other victims who have been similarly victimized by Catholic priests, nuns, seminarians, brothers, and bishops. The large and growing Catholic sex scandal across Europe is a shining light of truth on the long hidden stories of deeply wounded men and women who have been raped, sodomized, molested as children by Catholic clergy. These victims have begun speaking up in recent weeks, exposing predators, calling law enforcement, protecting kids, and healing themselves. We can all work together to create a safe world for our children. That is why tonight we are asking that anyone who saw, suspected, or suffered clergy sex crimes here, in Europe, or anywhere, to call the police, not the Church. When victims and witnesses stay silent, predators walk free and abuses keep happening. But when victims and witnesses find their courage to step forward, there's at least a chance for prevention, healing, and justice. We would like to take a few moments now to remember the victims of child sex abuse who've been lost the battle to heal and who we have lost to suicide.
In the next few days and on Wednesday, peoples around the world will especially identify with the country of Ireland as they celebrate St. Patrick's Day. This is a day in which we celebrate the evangelization of Ireland and the great saint who doggedly spread the gospel of love and freedom to this island nation. St. Patrick felt victimized by the abuse of power because he was a slave. When he gained his own freedom, he then looked to set the country of Ireland free. We also join with Cardinal Walter Casper of Germany in saying enough. We must seriously clean up our church. The guilty must be condemned and the victims compensated. It is time for the cleaning out of those who value their reputation over the protection of children. We hope that this process of accountability and openness that began in Ireland can spread to the many other countries where the systematic cover-up of sexual abuse has occurred. Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, the United States, and all the others.
There are so many people that have suffered in silence and shame and are trapped in places where they can't get out of. I want to stand with them to encourage them to come forward and to join the other brave survivors who have done so that the scourge of child sexual abuse can be eliminated.
I'm an Irish American, and I'm happy that the Irish government has stood up and taken steps to correct their problems in Ireland. So I'm here to show support for them.
I think the Catholic hierarchy, their message is clear that they're more interested in self-interest than protecting children from sexual abuse. And if somebody doesn't stand up to bring light to this, that they'll continue on business as usual, covering up raping children.
Well, obviously the Irish government is taking a much more straightforward approach to their position on this, and we applaud their leadership in doing that and hope that others follow suit.
We think the American people, American Catholics, need to be alarmed and concerned more than they are about this crisis in America.
We hope to shine a spotlight on, continue to shine a spotlight on this terrible problem that exists here, that exists across Europe, as we're now finding out, South America. We know it, the Church continues to deny it, and I think we have to be aware and alert.
And there comes a point at which enough people will realize the situation and finally cause their governments to act.
Encourage those who may be victims who have not yet come forward to know that there are others that are willing to stand by them, stand with them, walk with them, and help them on their road to recovery.